Hey guys, Tom here and welcome back to another video on the Racing Joker channel. This video is not sponsored by NOS.
I need NOS.
I didn't know they had a grape flavor. Huh, but it's actually pretty good. So today we are going to be talking about car reviews. So, as you know, I've only done one car review, and the main reason why is because I don't have access to any cars to review right now. Or at least right now, no one has approached me. So the whole point of this video is to ask you guys to approach me, and I'm going to tell you how you can do that. In the description below, there is going to be a link to a form that you can fill out, and I'm going to go to the form right here. It's going to be a form you can fill out to make an application to have your car be reviewed by me on the channel. And if you get selected, the results will be a video review and also a written review, which you can download and share with your friends and all sorts of other things like that, along with the video as well. That'll be on YouTube. You can share that and go, hey guys, check out this car. This guy thinks my car is awesome, or he told me about a few different things I could do to it, or whatever, or he just, you know. So it's going to ask you to give me your email address. That's very important so that I can correspond with you and coordinate if I select you and stuff like that, ask you about your car, ask you about your schedule. Another really important thing is where you're located. Generally, I want things to be as convenient as possible, but if your car is very special, very remarkable, if it's like an R35 GTR or an R32 Skyline or just anything really neat, do not be afraid to still apply, even if you're in a completely different country. You know, if you're saying, hey, do you want to drive this Nismo R35 GTR? The only problem is I'm in the UK or I'm in the Netherlands or something like that. I can figure it out. I will travel to do the review. I'm willing to do the extra mile to make really good content. So if you want to share your car with me and make a review and just kind of bring the community together and make some awesome content, let's do it. But if you're not in Iowa, but you are willing to travel, just click yes here to let me know. I will look at both this answer and this one and I can figure it out. If you put a faraway answer and say no, I will still email you and ask you, what's your schedule like? Will you be able to like house me for like a few days? Will we actually be able to do this? After that, obviously, I want to know what car you have. So I want you to give me the year, the manufacturer or maker, and the model of the car. So my example was 2015 Subaru WRX. Other examples could be 2012 Mitsubishi Evo 10 or 2004 Nissan 350Z, anything you want. And I'm looking for both stock cars and modified cars. So whatever you got, share it with me. If it's old, restored, beat up, anything. Just, if you want to share it, share it. And I would be happy to experience it with you. Another important thing is, do you want to be in the car when I'm driving? Now, there are pros and cons when it comes to this. If you want to be in the car, I can have a conversation with you, and you can also, like, monitor how I'm driving the car and things like that. And the nice thing about having a conversation with you is that I can have, like a bit of banter between the owner and myself, and I can ask you questions about it, and it can be flowing pretty nicely, and it can be nice to watch. A couple things you can let me know right away is some limitations you want to put on my driving when I'm in your vehicle. Like what's the speed limit? Do you not want me to go past 80 miles an hour? Do you not want me to go past 100, or you just not care? If you want an RPM limit and you don't want me to going past like a certain RPM, like say you don't want me to go past 5,000 RPM in your car, whatever it might be, whether I'm revving it up or shifting, specify that, and I'll keep that in mind, and I will respect your wishes. It's not my car. It's a privilege to be able to drive your car, and I will respect your property. Obviously, let me know if the car is modified so that I know what questions to ask you via text or email, so I can say, what have you done with it? Give me an idea of what you've done, and stuff like that. What kind of car is it? Is it a daily? Is it a car for being on the street but still like meant for racing? So street racing, I guess. You don't need to confess that you're doing anything illegal to me. I'm not a cop. You don't need to tell me. If you want to tell me, you can. It could be a cool story. But if it's a track car, it's for the drag strip or road courses, that can be cool. Or if it's a drift build, hey, I don't know much about drifting, but I'd be happy to learn from you guys. And I'm sure a lot of other people would like to see what you've done if you have a neat drift build. Any stats or telemetry data that you can share with me, like the 0 to 60, how much horsepower your car has, even if it's stock, just let me know. But please specify if it's like wheel horsepower or brake horsepower or anything like that, just so that I can stay informed, and also so that I don't misinform the audience, so that I don't say this car has 903 wheel horsepower when you actually meant brake horsepower, because there's a difference. And of course, you know, the obligatory quarter mile times, if you've got any. That's always fun to hear about. You know, it did the quarter mile in 9 seconds at 170 or something like that. I don't even know if that's physically possible, but you know what I mean. And if you want to, for any of these like custom answer things, you can say not applicable or don't know or whatever. But if you've owned any previous cars and want to share what they were, please do. That's cool. Another interesting way we can have a conversation starter is to talk about how maybe you started out with a junk box and then you ended up with a sweet car that you're really in love with. Or maybe you're sharing the car with me because you absolutely hate it, you know, and you want to see if you're crazy and that I don't hate it or I hate it as well or whatever. You know, I don't care what your reason is as long as you're willing to share the car and we can make a cool video. Because who knows, I may agree with you or I might disagree, and then you might feel crazy. But don't worry, I feel crazy too. Another thing, not as important, but, you know, could be important to you, what you want me to call you so that I can, if you're not in the car at the end, I can say thank you to blah, blah, blah for sharing your car with us and letting me drive it. Or if you're in the car, I can introduce you and say this is blah, blah, blah. He has been kind enough to share this car with me and you guys and all that sort of stuff. And also, lastly, for me, so that I can keep track of how the awareness is being spread, let me know how you discovered this review application form, whether it's through this video, if someone else sent it to you, or if you found it, you know, just tell me how you found it. It's like when you're filling out a job application and the application thing says, how did you discover this job app or the employment opportunity or whatever. Same sort of thing. Just tell me how you discovered it. And yeah. And just a couple things about myself in case you're wondering if I'm credible enough to be driving all sorts of different cars. My current car is a 2015 Subaru WRX. It is stock, but I have driven it pretty fast before, and I'm able to be responsible and smart. And when it comes to other people's property, I'm very respectful. Other cars I have driven, you know, of note, you know, I did driver's ed in a Honda Civic and things like that, but that's not all that interesting. But another car that could be worth mentioning is that I have driven a 2016 BMW 340i X-Drive that is tuned by Dynan that has about 412 to 414 horsepower. It's a very fun car to drive, and I'm actually intending to do a review on it. So if you're kind of skeptical about my credibility and if I can handle driving faster cars, wait for that video to come out. But also, you know, put the application in and maybe leave somewhere a note that says, hey, I'd like to see your video before we go through with this review, but I'd like to let you know I'm interested. You know, anything. I just want people to start putting in applications so that I know what's out there and so that I know who's interested and so that I can kind of plan out the content in my head and do research on your cars as well, because I like to go the extra mile. So like, say if you have a Nissan 240SX, I'm going to research the engines that were used in those cars, whether it's the US domestic market or the Japanese domestic market. I'm going to look at some of the more famous builds out there. I'm going to look at the history, why people like those cars, so that if you're in the car, we can have a cool conversation about them. Or if you're outside of the car, I can kind of have interesting things to say whilst also talking about your car. You know, this is very important to me. You know, I'd like to consider myself to be an aspiring automotive journalist. I feel like I have some credibility in terms of theory. I am trying to work up my credibility in terms of practicality, but the only way I can do that is by expanding the palette of cars that I have driven. So starting out with the 2015 WRX and the 2016 BMW. But if you're willing to help by sharing your cars, I can become more experienced. I can make more content, become more credible. People can learn about cars. And, you know, everyone's happy. Everyone can be entertained. We can all have a good time. And the community can become introduced to you, your car, and everything can just become even more closely knit together. So anyways, without further ado, I'm going to sign out. If you've got a neat car that you want me to review, please fill out this form. I am interested in driving everything. I don't care what the heck it is. I will drive it. I want to meet you guys. I want to be a part of the community. I want to share the community with people who may not feel as connected to it. Let's do it. This is worldwide, international. We're doing this, guys. So without further ado, I am Tom, the Racing Joker, signing out of YouTube. I'll see you on the next video. Stay crazy, everybody.